Today, surprising new silhouettes in the CheckPoint intro. This is CheckPoint.
Oh.
That's right. Who is that weird person in the CheckPoint intro?
You mean the one without the glasses?
Yeah. And
Is that allowed?
It's interesting the way that, because of course we reshot all the stills to go along for the CheckPoint intro. And it's funny how, depending on the angle you catch people at, like my new, I feel like my new silhouette makes me look like I have a big like Popeye chin that's also like furry a little bit. Make me wear glasses for the intro.
I mean, I guess he gets in on technicality by having contacts. Is that how you get to be on camera in CheckPoint? You have to have glasses or
Yeah, you have to have
contacts?
You have to have poor eyesight. We don't allow people with good eyesight on CheckPoint for obvious reasons.
For teleprompting reasons. That's strange.
Hey everybody, welcome to ChillPoint Plus, which is like CheckPoint Plus, except it's just more relaxed and chill. For those of you who haven't seen the show before, usually when we do CheckPoint, the actual CheckPoint that you see up on YouTube, we record, we collect stories throughout the week, and then on Thursday morning or Friday night, or Thursday morning or Wednesday evening, we we select them and turn them into real stories, or CheckPoint stories, the ones that we think that we have potential
things to say about.
And then we go live, we record the episode, and then Heather takes that and cuts out all the parts where we messed up, and then uploads it to YouTube. And then we do like a little after show giving you more info about the stories that we did do and talking about the stories we didn't do.
Don't worry, I take the funniest part where they messed up and put it at the end of the episode.
Yes. And then, so what this is ChillPoint, and this is what happens when Graham and Kathleen and Beej are busy, but I still have all these stories that I have. Literally, I've been collecting video game news stories over the week for 10 years.
Yeah, maybe.
Something like that.
It's gotta be close.
If we're going back to ENN times,
forever.
Yeah,
your entire life since you were born.
And so it's just like a habit now. So I collect the stories whether or not we're actually doing CheckPoint that week. And so ChillPoint is we can do the last part of the normal CheckPoint stream where we talk about the stories we didn't talk about, except all of the stories are stories that don't appear in CheckPoint during the week because there wasn't an actual CheckPoint.
There's no CheckPoint this week, which is fine. It gives us so much time to talk about all of Animal Crossing and nothing else, because nothing else happened.
And to that end, today I am joined by noted Animal Crossing expert Heather Deary. And I say expert in the sense that you watched the Nintendo Direct and I did not.
I watched it twice. And then I took 4 pages of notes.
Holy crap.
There was a lot of stuff, Paul. There was so many things. I know you're not familiar with Animal Crossing, so it was like all new, but there are definitely new things.
But like there's like all of the various, Polygon and Kotaku and Ars Technica and all the various like news blogs have like roundup articles about stuff that happened during it. Those aren't 4 pages long.
Well, no, but they're cowards.
Yeah. Clearly, if you want the real in-depth reporting, ChillPoint is where you gotta go.
Source.
So, before we get into the rest of the stories, let's talk about what's really important, which is Animal Crossing. So, this is the first, we saw, Nintendo talked about Animal Crossing in the sense that, they showed a trailer for it.
Yes.
a while ago.
A while back.
And everyone got really excited.
Mm-hmm.
And then they basically haven't said anything.
Nope.
And so everyone's been like, there's been speculation, and people be like, they're not saying anything in a weird way.
Oh, no,
maybe it's
like,
being.
They are very not chill.
Maybe it's gonna be delayed. Maybe they're just keeping quiet. Oh no.
That was a real fear a lot of people were having. They were just like, oh no, they're gonna delay it again. Oh no, they can't possibly do a direct about it. Like, at least 2 days, like, we're talking, like, at least up to 2 days ago. Oh, they couldn't possibly do a direct about it because it's too close to the launch. Does Nintendo know that they have a game coming out on March 20th? Because they're not talking about it.
So this was, like, their big chance to reveal stuff.
Yeah, this was their big in-depth direct. They've done a couple this year already. Like they did the Pokemon one where they talked about the DLC stuff. I wouldn't call it a direct because they just called it Sakurai Presents Smash stuff.
I hope they did just call it that. Sakurai Presents Smash stuff.
I don't really count that one as a direct.
Put Sakurai in Smash, you cowards.
And now we have Animal Crossing as a direct, and we haven't had a general direct at all this year yet, so people are getting antsy about that too.
I mean, Nintendo has been very good about, like, they're definitely in the realm of, we don't care about E3 and various other conventions. We'll just announce stuff whenever we feel like it. We have our own platform now.
Which,
all right.
I mean, is smart. I think I think they're all starting to figure that out between Twitch and YouTube and the internet, that they don't need to, they can tell people whatever they want whenever they want. So
do you watch Nintendo Direct, like, on a Switch? Like, do they have stuff so you can watch it on a Switch or not?
I think you can use the YouTube app, so I don't see why not.
Anyway, so what's the cool stuff with Animal Crossing?
So first of all, you can choose which map you want for your island, which doesn't seem like a big deal, except it totally is, because I know people will restart their games over and over because you get a random island before, like a layout wise, like where rivers are going and stuff like that. And now you get to, like, when you start the game, they're going to give you a map select thing, like, here's some maps, which one do you want?
Okay, so, but they're still randomly generated, but they just generate, like, a bunch and then you get to choose one?
I don't think they're randomly generated, I just think there's only so many selections.
Okay.
But then you also get to pick whether or not you're in the northern hemisphere or the southern hemisphere, and that's new for this game too, because that changes the way the seasons react. Which means if you live in the southern hemisphere, now your seasons will line up with how your seasons actually line up, which is kind of the appeal of Animal Crossing, is the real-time syncing
right. That
events.
Like, that was the old school, like, on the original Animal Crossing when it didn't have any internet connectivity. How it managed everything was just the internal clock.
Yeah.
And that was, like, the big thing that they had. There was, like, they could do all this interesting stuff for seasons and things just from the internal clock.
So the conceit of this game is that you're going on an island and you're doing a vacation getaway, which means you get a tent. You've always started with a house before, but now you're starting with a tent.
Ooh. And
Tom Nook, of course, is giving you the tent, and you have to pay him back in Nook miles for the vacation getaway.
So it's like a working that's kind of a crappy vacation.
I think because the way Nook Miles works is, like, do things like fishing and whatnot, that it's meant to be more of a do things on my island, make it good for me so that other people come here. And then once you love this island because you've done so many things and given me all my Nook Miles for this tent, now you can purchase a house because you will live here now forever, and then you will owe me money.
It's still not, like, a really compelling, like, if you saw that as like an advertisement for a vacation, like, if you got a vacation to, like, Hawaii, and then you get there and they're like, awesome, you owe us all this money, start working. I would be a little annoyed at that vacation. Here's your tent.
Well, you also get, like, what looks like a lantern and a radio and a little bed.
Oh, good.
This is your starter set.
Yeah.
And a Nook phone.
A Nook phone?
And then, so you get a little phone.
Nokia?
And it's got, like, little apps on it that let you use the camera and the map, but then other things like a rescue service if you get lost, because apparently you can get yourself trapped on certain parts of the island possibly, but don't worry, you can use this rescue app so you can go home. By which I mean your tent.
Does Nook just like come in a helicopter and pick you up or something?
So what they showed on the direct was the screen being black and someone yelling at you, and they didn't state who it was, but I think it might be Rossetti, which is a big deal because he's not there now to tell you not to reset your game and not just, and how dare you improperly save. So maybe I think it might be Rossetti.
Ooh.
I got no proof for that, but it was loud and angry yelling as if I had reset my game. So I think it must be.
I love the idea that like Nook comes and you're lost, and Nook comes like in a helicopter and like hovers above you and is like, I can pick you up, but it'll cost you.
So yeah, then there's like you start with a resident services little tent area that you're gonna be able to build up into probably more of a town center later. The big thing is the airport, because that's how you get to the island. It's how your friends get to come and visit. The newest thing with that I can see is what looks like room codes. Essentially, like you can say, come invite friends over, here's a code, so you don't have to be friends with the person who's coming to visit your island.
Oh, interesting.
Your Switch,
so you can have like a
weird.
public code that is like your specific island.
Yeah, but it's a temporary code.
Oh, okay.
This is why I refer to it as a room code.
Interesting.
It feels like that kind of a thing. But when you do that, if you don't have a person labeled, like if you have somebody labeled as your best friend who's coming and visiting your island, they can use all their tools. If you don't, it looks like you can have restrictions set up so people can't just axe down all your trees because they won't be able to use the axe. You can say that they can't use the shovel, so they can't set up a bunch of pit traps. I don't know if you can prevent people from stealing your flowers, but I will definitely turn that on if that's a thing.
So you can have like user access levels.
Yes.
It's like, are you going to let this person in as root, or are you going to let them in as a restricted guest account?
Yeah, there are people who would go around and try and wreck people's towns. I used to frequent an Animal Crossing forum, and that was how I got like a lot of trades with furniture and stuff done. And sometimes you get people who say they're there for a thing, and then you see them sneaking off with the flowers that you've spent ages trying to crossbreed to get the colors that you can't. And
the worst kind of criminal, a flower criminal.
Yes.
It's worthwhile to note that when James came in this morning, the first thing he did was like, hey, Heather, can I be your best friend on Animal Crossing?
And I asked him if that was just so he could have access to the axe to cut down all my trees, and he said it was.
At least he was truthful.
Yeah, I might let him. Just see what he does. Yeah, they also seem like they took out the post office, and that's where you also do some post office stuff.
My IRL neighbor has super gorgeous flowers, and someone legit cuts them down every time they grow.
Oh, that's terrible.
Wow, that is terrible.
We've seen, the Nook mileage program, we kind of touched on that. They showed off Wisp and Gulliver.
Nooknet?
Nooknet?
So Nook is like he's like the entrepreneur on the island.
Yeah,
like he owns everything. He owns everything on the island.
So he's named everything.
Right.
Clearly.
So he's like, you don't want to cross Tom Nook. Mm-hmm. Like he literally, he owns everything on the island, including like law enforcement.
I don't know. They didn't show anything about the police stations this time, so, but I'm assuming the police stations might be in there. The thing I found interesting is they had a section of the direct where they called it optional extras, and they put building a house in that portion, and I was just like, I think you're trying to point out to people that if you want to live in a tent forever, we will not stop you.
Does everybody like? Is there also like a town on the island that has like all the other people in it, and you're just in a tent off to the side, or is there nothing except for your tent?
You show up, and it looks like you get 2 other animal villagers who show up. And this time around as well, you get to pick where their tents are gonna go, which is a big deal for some people because houses would just kind of pop up wherever, and it would ruin like tree areas and things that people were trying to actually landscape in the game. But now you can. It looks like you can pick where they live. You can pick where all of the shops and stuff go. You can even relocate the shops and where your house is later, which is also kind of a big deal. And then beyond that, when you get they said when your island is all decked out, so I'm assuming that's more of a you've gotten a lot of amenities up already. You can start terraforming. You can like make the rivers go away or add more water or like make the cliffs go away. Fuck, there's cliffs that you can go up. This means you can make slopes and ramps and stairs, and I know that doesn't sound like a lot, but it's amazing.
It's like Dubai, where you're just like, who cares about the land? Let's just make our own rivers and things. So like when you first get to the island, it's just like you and Tom Nook.
You, Tom Nook, and two other animals,
right,
who have come to join this vacation spectacular. And then more animals will want to come later, and then you can be like, this is where your house will go. Do not ruin my trees.
Wow.
Also, they just have a path thing set up, so you can build paths. That's also a big deal. It's a huge deal. It's just paths are a separate thing as opposed to you customizing a thing and making your own tile sets to have to put down very meticulously.
What I love about Animal Crossing is that like there's the certain like mindset, like when stuff like, oh, you can do terraforming, oh, you can do build this thing or do this thing and stuff, and there's this thing, it's like that's not that in like lots of other games you can do that, but it's like no, you couldn't do it in Animal Crossing before because the whole point is that you can do all this other stuff, but you also get to do all the Animal Crossing stuff, which is the part that people really like.
Yeah, you get to catch fish for your museum, which looks gorgeous, by the way. Oh my goodness, I've never known that I wanted a museum to look that good.
Wait, you have live fish in your museum?
Yes, so that people can learn about them. So
it's like an aquarium.
Well, there's an aquarium section, yes. There's also a bug section, and maybe they'll do an artwork section. Ooh, they definitely had the fossils out. It was very pretty.
I mean, speaking of people were saying it's like you're Jeff Bezos or whatever. The museum stuff reminds me of the real sci-fi museum in Seattle, which is legitimately just the collection of, I forget what the guy's name is, like the co-founder of Amazon. It's like his because it's not like there's stuff in the museum that you didn't put there. It's all your stuff.
Yeah.
It's just like your storage room that other people are allowed to like come to.
Well, in terms of like,
do other people visit your museum?
I'm certain if you have that whole thing where you've got other accounts on the Switch and other people are playing, they can probably contribute to the museum as well. And so it's more of a group effort thing. But let's face it, I play this thing single player, and only I will get access to this island. So no, it's only my museum stuff.
Nice. And do other animals like come and look at your museum?
Maybe.
Or is it literally just these are all my precious things that I shall keep in a vault that nobody can see.
It's a free museum though. It's not like you can charge them money. I mean, in New Leaf, you would set up a town project where the little Lloyd Gyrate thing would be like, we need money for this thing, help us out, and the citizens barely contribute. Freeloaders. God.
Nice.
Yeah, they mentioned party play, which is basically just 4 people on the same Switch on the same island can play couch co-op, which is different and kind of neat. I'm probably not gonna ever do that. No.
You'd have to have
Beach will not be
able. He's not going to be able to visit your island.
Well, no, I pre-ordered the Animal Crossing Switch, so I'm letting him take the old Switch, and so if he wants to play Animal Crossing, he can play on his own island. That's fine.
And maybe he can like visit.
But I don't know if
visit
he'll like
your,
it or not.
He can like visit your island under extreme restrictions. You can look at stuff, but no touching.
Yeah. He's gonna be the most restricted person I let on my island. There's a way to go travel to some other small deserted islands where you can get. It looks like a different way to get some fruit without having to go to other people's towns and stuff, which kind of looked cool. So the Nintendo Switch Online app is an app for your phone that corresponds with other games. Splatoon's the big one that I know that works on it, but Animal Crossing is going to work on it as well. And the big deal with that is in New Leaf and Happy Home Designer, you could make your own designs, and it would make a QR code for those. And so you can use this app to scan those to bring them into this game. So that's pretty cool.
New Leaf is the one for mobile, right?
No, New Leaf is the 3DS one.
Oh.
It's the last mainline one. The Pocket Camp one is
Pocket
a
Camp, right.
piece of trash.
Ouch.
I still play it, but it's a piece of trash. Let's not forget. Let's see. They definitely confirmed Isabelle is back, which is good for Doom. The Doom account tweeted asking Nintendo when they put up the direct if Isabelle would be there, and so I guess Doom can be happy that their friend is
Doom?
still working.
Doom?
Have you not seen the Doom and Isabelle artwork? The fan art creations of Doom Guy and Isabelle hanging out and teaching Isabelle combat moves and things. And
then does Isabelle teach the Doom Guy like gardening or whatever she does?
Oh, they're just buds. They hang out. They're great. Doom Guy cares.
I love the Doom Isabella Reddit. Of course.
Yes, it's fantastic.
All right.
What else? Right, so here's something I find really interesting. They brought up the fact that there were going to be free updates for seasonal events. And they really focused in on the fact that they'd be seasonal events. So in Animal Crossing, generally, they're usually tied to real day events, but they'll call them different things. Like Easter is like Bunny Day, or Christmas is Toy Day, that kind of thing. I think New Year's might be like one of the few exceptions, or Halloween. But they mentioned on March 20th they're going to have an update that allows people to do Bunny Day. And I know I've seen some people suggest they did this as a way to not have to finish everything in the game, but I actually just think this is a way to circumvent people who are time travelers. So time traveling is the thing that you do when you switch your clock so that you end up on a different date in the game, and then you see all the event stuff, and then you'll go back.
I mean, we're in the year 2020 of our Lord, of our Animal Crossing. They don't have to put all the stuff from the holidays that haven't happened yet into having an update to make add the content for a holiday that hasn't happened yet seems perfectly reasonable.
I think it might be an interesting thing where if a holiday then lands on a different day in different years, they can update it so it changes, so it makes the calendar a little bit different instead of the same static thing every year.
Right.
Which could be cool.
Although, I mean, like most of the holidays that move around, it's not like they're moving around random, like they can still be predicted.
Yeah.
But like
Easter changes up.
Yeah.
And stuff, and
but when it is set, it's just that migrates depending on how the year is.
Mm-hmm. I still think it's mostly to circumvent time travelers, because even though
there's no reason
people do that, Nintendo doesn't like it.
And there's no reason, like, I'm assuming that this is, majorly online, just in the sense of all games are fairly online these days. And so, there's no reason, every game that has seasonal events does updates in order to make it, that's not weird. And also, I mean, I would assume that your Switch or whatever can contact network time servers to make sure that you are actually on the right time.
I mean, the 3DS did as well. Like, it would take.
You can take it off. You can take it offline.
You could change it within the game a little bit. The game mostly punished you by making your turnips go rotten because turnips did not survive time travel. That's which,
canonical. Yeah.
I mean, it's a big deal if you're trying to do your stock market stuff. Yeah, they showed pole vaulting and ladders as items, which was neat. But again, you're going to be able to add bridges and slopes, so you won't have to use those all the time. They definitely showed a character creator at some point, which they didn't like talk about, but was great.
Who do you usually play in Animal Crossing?
Yourself.
Like, are you like a little animal,
No,
or are
you're
you
a person.
You're a person.
You're a person surrounded by animal villagers.
Are you like a me?
Some of the games allowed you to eventually put your me face on the thing, and I tried it once and I hated it because it just doesn't look right with the design. But no, you're a little person with a ball head and like little ball hands.
Okay. Still kind of sounds like a me.
No, these had more facial shapes.
Oh, okay.
I'm excited for the character creator because, like, when I started New Leaf, you get like this weird quiz that's just like, so, are you cool or cute? And I'm like, oh, I think I'm pretty cool. Cool. Ah, then you must be a boy. I don't want to play as a boy though. I guess go back. I'm cute. Ah, yes, a girl. Oh, okay, sure. And like it was a little weird quiz, and you had to like if you wanted a certain facial look, you had to go look up what the quiz answers were online. So someone had done the thing, and it was
It's really
like,
weird. Yeah.
Can you just give me a character creator? Because come on.
Can you import your character from your previous game?
I don't think so. It did not look like it. They said that they were going to support amiibo figures and cards again.
Ooh.
They talked about an island called Photopia where you could bring other animals and then dress them up in different things and basically do photo shoots. I'm not as excited about that, but that could be fun.
I like that there's an island just for photo shoots.
They said there'd be additional characters supported in the future, which I guess just means new villagers will show up from time to time.
Yeah, I mean it's built in that they have like, you know, random people can like they can update it and then like some random person shows up. Like it's sort of built into the to the structure of the game that random stuff might be added in the future.
Yeah. Now the big thing that everyone hates. There's one big thing. And they kind of talked about it a little bit. And that's the fact that cloud saves are not supported. Or the fact that you can't transfer your island from one Switch to the other.
At
all.
That seems strange.
Which is a bit weird. There's like literally only other game I've seen that you can't move your save file from one Switch to the other, even though it doesn't support cloud saves. They usually have like Pokemon will let you go from one Switch to the other if you have both as a local transfer. The only other game I've seen that is just like, no, you can't do that ever because for whatever reason, is a Yu-Gi-Oh game. I don't know why, but nobody cares about that one. Everyone cares about Animal Crossing, and you can't do it with that one either. They have said that in the future, they're going to come up with a thing where if you're a Nintendo Online member, which is their Nintendo Online subscription service, if something happens to your device, if it's lost or damaged, there'll be a thing where you can get a backup somehow. But the small print in this direct specifically states Nintendo Switch Online members can only have saved data recovered one time due to loss or damage of system, which I think is pretty BS.
What?
But I don't know. I don't get it. Like, I know why they don't want to do the cloud save thing, because there's a way you could probably do some duplicate item thing, and you could probably get away with some weird time travel shenanigans, which is still weird, and I get it, but whatever. But this is just even weirder.
But it's like, why have... Like, it's just like, why have a cloud save system when, like, your flagship franchises don't support it? Like... When Pokemon doesn't support cloud saves either.
Again, it's to stop people from trying to duplicate and do like.
And it's like, who the hell cares if people are using dupe glitches in Animal Crossing? Like, It's not like there's a really big Animal Crossing competitive scene, or they're gonna mess up the economy of Animal Crossing. They're just doing it in their own game. Who cares?
I don't know. I don't get it. No, they definitely said not Nintendo Online backups aren't going to be available yet, but they will be. But I went back, I watched this direct twice. The screen literally said only one time.
It's just so weird. But
then I'm like, also, how do you? So it means you're doing some sort of some save backup thing.
If they can do it once
that I can't access unless I call you or talk to you. And do I? How do I prove? Do I have to prove it, or is it just be like? It's like, well, we'll only make it once because then you won't try to like call us repetitively to get it to work. I'm like, it's really dumb.
And it's like,
worst thing.
As somebody, who knows something about computer and
I'm
online
you have to call them.
networking and stuff, like there are some very, very hard problems in terms of real-time synchronization between different games, especially when we're talking like super fast online games like fighting games and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But something like Animal Crossing is like the easiest, like it's literally just serializing the state of the game and uploading it. Like it's not, there's no race conditions, there's no there's no problems with like two people trying to access the same data at the same time, because it's just you with your thing. Like, what the hell does it matter? It's so weird. Anyway.
Yeah, no, it's completely odd. It's the thing that people hate the most about what's going on right now. I am curious to see, because they haven't actually said what that's going to entail. I assume you're going to have to contact them to say your device has been lost, or to send in your device to show that it's been damaged or something. They didn't say. But it's definitely, they also brought this up, I think, recently, that this was a thing that they were going to work on after launch, which to me says it's a response to people being mad about cloud saving not working. But if there's a backup that you can access even once, that means it's making a backup. It's
yeah.
Like, you can't have it, but we're making it.
How long ago was Steam Cloud Saves? Like, how long ago did Steam bring out cloud saving? Because it wasn't like when Steam first came out, they didn't have cloud saving, but I just wonder how long ago it was that they did that. It's like, I don't know. Nintendo has this great thing where they're like, they do something kind of partially, and then they're like, oh, hey, cloud saving. That's like a new thing, right?
I mean, it is newer for them.
Yeah.
For this system to have cloud saves.
But they seem to feel that people think it's impressive. They should think it's impressive that they have cloud saving at all. And it's like, oh, unfortunately, it doesn't work with this game. But for most games, cloud saving works. It's just like,
I think the hardest part is just trying to keep track of them all. But it's like, I know Pokemon doesn't do it, and that's due to probably trying to not duplicate things. And
does Zelda?
Splatoon doesn't do it. No, Zelda does it.
Zelda does it, and like Mario.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Odyssey.
Odyssey does it.
Yeah.
Okay, well that's good anyway.
Like the majority of my games back up. When Ben lost his Switch, he's a very adamant Pokemon player. Guess what? All he lost. Guess what? He had to replay, or has to, or goes through, because there's no getting that back. There's no cloud saves for that.
Weren't just Pokemon? I guess if he in like a couple of weeks, he would have been able to put his Pokemon in Pokemon Home, like, because that's out now, right?
Yeah.
But it was too.
It was too late. But you'd also have to already have put them there, because then they're not in your game.
Oh right, they can't be in Pokemon Home and also in your game.
Yeah, so it's kind of, it's weird.
So if you see anybody with Ben's Pokemon, tackle them.
I mean, but that's the one dark spot on an otherwise beautiful island filled with a really cool looking museum that I'm very excited about.
All right.
That I'll still
just don't
play.
lose your island.
I mean, if I ever lost my Switch, I would be devastated. Just outright.
Just think though, if you lost your island, that just gives you more opportunity to make more. It just gives you an empty island to continue building more stuff.
I've definitely seen people who will replay the game after they finish it. A lot of them would like to be able to make a backup save of their thing and then play again, which they can't. You can't do.
You can only have one island at a time.
Well,
are we at the same? Or is it?
But I'm talking about like for New Leaf and those things. Like even for New Leaf, you can't have more than one save, ever. The GameCube version kind of made that a thing by the fact that it takes up an entire memory card, which I didn't know about until recently because that was amazing.
So if you have like more than one person sharing a Switch, they can only have one.
That's the island that you're all on.
Wow.
You can't have separate islands.
One island per Switch.
Yep.
It's just like weird. It's like weird restrictions.
Yeah.
Like for no reason.
It also shows that they can do stuff like that on the Switch, which is different, right? Because before it was like, oh, well, Pokemon's a game that's only ever had one save file, but now you can get around it by having multiple profiles at least, and you can kind of do that. And it's like, but if they really wanted to, they could have said no. I mean, I don't know why they would have done it on that one specifically, but now it does actually show that this is a thing that they can do.
So even if you have multiple profiles on your Switch, it still is only one island.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I think for some people, there'll be people who will be happy about that. There will also be people who will really not be happy about that.
Can you do the thing where you like draw a line down the middle of your island and be like, you stay on that side?
I mean, they've got pathing. You could make a path line.
Build up like a fence.
Maybe you could get, you could construct a big cliff wall. Like, this is my side of the island. You can't come over here. I've got my tent here, and you've got your tent over there.
Be like,
why not?
No whatever allowed. No whoever you are allowed. No humans, I guess. Only one human allowed on this island.
Only one human allowed on my side of the island, and that's me. Yeah. But otherwise,
very odd.
Otherwise, I think it looks great. I'm very excited for it.
Sweet. And that's coming out end of March?
March 20th.
Ooh.
I think the GameStop that I'm going to, because I'm buying a physical copy so that Beach and I can both play without having to buy multiple copies, is doing a midnight release, so I might just go do that.
All right, let's go on to some other news. But first, let's quickly welcome some subs from the beginning of the thing. Baldrash for 60 months. 5 years? 5 years. That's right. Amazing.
MTV CDM for 65 months. Welcome back.
And the Mana League for 46 months.
Dag Hag for 9 months. Hey, awesome.
Bitonality with 100 bits. Very appropriate. Just finished Road Quest. Huge congrats to the entire production team on such an ambitious undertaking. Oh, thank you very much.
I think almost all of us have recovered now. Diabor for 41 months. Welcome back.
And Le Monsieur Squirrel for 62 months. And Uncle Tom Nook has just subscribed.
Thanks, Mary Cat.
Uncle Tom Nook has subscribed. You now owe Uncle Tom Nook $5 for the Twitch subscription somehow. So actually, speaking of GameStop, exclusive to GameStop.
Oh yeah.
Is yeah. You know those like Tiger LCD handhelds that are terrible?
Yeah, I had a Batman one as a kid.
Yeah, well, apparently they're going to be Hasbro is doing a deal with GameStop where they're going to be redoing a bunch of them. You can see Sonic the Hedgehog 3 and Transformers, The Little Mermaid.
Oh, I remember the Little Mermaid one. I didn't have it, but I remember it.
It's just I love this article is talking about it's like, so get them while you can, and also while GameStop is still open because they're having a lot of problems lately.
Yeah.
But there's something. This is another one of those weird things where it's like companies. I feel like companies think that there's nostalgia for these like Tiger Electronics devices because they used to sell well, but they don't understand that the reason why they used to sell well is because there was literally no other option. As soon as there's anything else to play, anything at all, they're terrible and nobody should get... Like, they're selling these for $15. I'm sure you could get a used original Game Boy, maybe, or whatever. Literally any other thing that can play games. I mean, obviously a phone, but like any other device is going to be better than this. Like, these things were terrible. And I love the comments are full of people being like, oh, yeah, I remember these when I was a kid. They sucked. They were awful.
There's I think, some genuine nostalgia for thinking about that and remembering your childhood, but not wanting to buy it.
Yeah. But, like, but the people... And so there's this weird... I liken it to... There's a thing with, like TV shows, too, where there's, like... They try to like bring back TV shows and get them people's nostalgia. Like, I mean, the one that there's like, Fuller House was the one that I always thought about. And it was like, people are like, oh man, everyone loved Full House when it was like on the air. Let's bring it back and then get all that nostalgia. And it's like, I think you misunderstand. Like, I used to watch Full House when I was a kid because it was the thing that was on at 3:30 when I came home from school.
Yeah.
Not because I particularly liked Full House. It was just I was a kid and I liked watching TV, and that was what was on TV. And I think this is kind of the same thing where they misconstrue why people had the thing before, and there weren't that many channels. Like, it's just, yeah. I don't buy these. They are terrible. There's also
there's a very specific subset of people who are going to buy these. It's going to be grandparents for tiny children.
There's an archive.org place where they've actually like archived a ton of the old Tiger Electronics games and like made a little like JavaScript interface where you can play them. And that's very valuable because you can go back and look at how terrible they were and be like, remember. Yeah, anytime you forget about how terrible they were, you can go back and play them and be like, right, these were not good. So, yeah, they could, I don't know, or they could just, make I mean, you can even play those Tiger Electronics, the archive ones on like your phone if you really wanted to. But anyway, don't buy these. Okay, other stuff that's going on. Fortnite Season 2, Episode 2? What is it?
Chapter 2.
Chapter 2.
I mean, Episode 2, Chapter 2.
Which continues...
the same.
I kind of wish that somebody in like the Loading Ready Run crew was super into Fortnite. Or that,
just so we could understand what was going on.
Or that more of our fan or like the people in the chat were like into Fortnite, just so I could have somebody like to explain it to me, in the sense not in the sense that like I get that it's a fun, that people enjoy playing it, but they seem to spend so much work on like story, I guess, or setting. I don't know if it's strictly story, but it's like. They seem to spend so much work on like setting and like making these like in-game events and doing all this stuff, and it's like, does that really does anybody care that like you're doing that you're apparently two teams of spies now? Like all of the gameplay of Fortnite I see is just like people running around smacking each other with stuff and shooting guns at each other, and like it looks fun, and like building crazy constructions of like you suddenly on top of a big tower and you can shoot, like it looks cool, but I don't quite see why there's so much like story marketing and other stuff.
Oh, it's marketing. It's first it's about trying to keep your players engaged and invested and always showing up to see new things.
Right, I guess
but
new stuff is
it's how many weeks does CheckPoint really go without talking about Fortnite and how they're doing something new and how they're doing something weird, because they always are. Whereas
I
When's
guess
the last
so,
time
yeah.
we talked about PUBG or even Apex Legends, which is getting an update thing somewhere, and yet we're not really talking about that. It's not goofy and funny.
Yeah, I mean, Fortnite's got the memes, I guess.
Yeah, they're keeping themselves in discussion. They're keeping themselves potentially people going and seeing what they're up to.
And it's new new skins and things to sell, I guess. And new DLC or stuff for loot boxes and things. Anyway, the new thing for Fortnite is apparently now there's like spies. There's like 2 factions of spies that are fighting each other, which sounds a lot like Team Fortress, but anyway. And there's a bunch of new outfits that you can get. They're all like super spy outfits, except for one that's like a really muscular cat, cat man with a cat head. So yeah, that's the current state of Fortnite.
Doing more Fortnite things. Yep.
Ooh.
Yeah, I like this one.
Speaking of cosmetic things, thankfully, finally, our the terrible oversight in Final Fantasy XIV has been rectified. In the latest patch, you can now build a shelf to store all your cheese.
And it's just the cheese.
Yes, to be clear, this is not a shelf in which you could put lots of different things, including cheese. No. This is a cheese shelf.
Specifically for cheese.
It requires 5 lignum vitae lumber, 2 white oak lumber, and 4 bowls of cottage cheese, and 4 pieces of cream cheese in order to make. And then you make a shelf filled with cheese.
Yeah. It is just for cheese.
Which, I mean, I love cheese.
Did you not want a cheese shelf?
If I had like the big like mansion or whatever, I would want to have like a cheese shelf where you have like all sorts of different types of cheese, and every day you can go down and be like, what kind of cheese shall I have today? Like, I would be totally in favor of that. I just love, I don't know enough about Final Fantasy XIV to know what other kinds of shelves there are. Like, I hope it's just, you can have like a normal shelf or a cheese shelf. Like, that's it. There are no other kinds of shelves.
Yes. I mean, I really wanted it to be a thing of like, here, you make the shelf, but now you may only put cheese upon it. So it's empty unless you put cheese in it, but you can only put cheese in it. It won't let you put other things in it because that shelf knows its destiny, Paul. It knows it is meant for cheese and cheese only.
It's got DRM on it. you take a can of soup and put it on and it just goes.
That's not for me unless it's cheese soup, and then still not quite right.
Yeah. So if you want to have like a sandwich, you need 3 different shelves. You need like a full, like ground to floor shelf of cheese, ground to floor shelf of like meat, ground to floor shelf of bread.
Well, if you put
only one,
if you put
one
one
item
shelf,
per shelf.
one bread shelf on one side and another bread shelf on the other side, so you're sandwiching the other condiments in between, then it is like you've got a shelf sandwich.
I see. And then you just take all 3 shelves and like put them together and just eat it like that.
Yeah.
I like it.
Don't forget your ketchup shelf.
So
I mean, that's the kind of silliness I would pull off in a video game like that. If it lets me, why not?
I do, because of course the other aspect of this is this sort of emphasizes not only you can build a shelf for cheese, which is great, but also there is apparently people were asking for this because there's so much cheese that you can acquire in the game that people were like, where do I put all of this cheese? I have too much cottage cheese. I have too much cream cheese. I need a place to put my cheese. Please, developers, give me a place where I can put all this cheese.
I did not know it was a highly asked after item.
Neither did I, but apparently
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, you got what you wanted.
In the realm of like quality of life improvements. And speaking of which.
Speaking of life.
Yeah. No Man's Sky, the game that just keeps on updating with more and more stuff. But yeah, by the way, if you haven't paid attention to No Man's Sky, it's like an entirely different game than it was when it came out. But they've just added the next patch, which doesn't have a name, it's just a patch. They've had a bunch of like big named updates. But anyway, this patch adds living ships. That's right. You can go to a place and acquire a void egg.
Yeah, to be fair, like a ship that is alive, not a ship full of things that are alive.
No. Well, I imagine you could put live stuff inside your living ship.
I mean, it's still a ship, right? Like, you still want to use it as a ship, right? So,
I mean,
you're gonna be inside. This is weird that this is all Pinocchio now. My ship whale.
I mean, yeah, that's basically what it is. Sky whale, space whale. Yeah, you can put your void. You may get a void egg, and there's a new mission chain called Starbirth, which allows you to hatch your void egg. And of course, because this is No Man's Sky, it's not like you get the living ship. It is a procedurally generated ship because everything is procedurally generated in No Man's Sky. So your living ship is going to look and be entirely different from everyone else's living ship, and all the like upgrades for it are totally different too. Like you can't bolt whatever an extra cargo bay onto your living ship.
Of course, if you really, really want a living ship, you will prove that you're responsible for one by taking care of it from birth and as an egg.
That's true.
If you can't do that, you don't deserve a living ship.
I want somebody to just have like a little like baby carriage with like a little floating ship inside it.
You know that class where they make you take like an egg home for like the weekend to prove like responsibility of parents.
Right.
This would have been so much cooler.
Oh yeah. If it were just like,
if you could successfully birth or hatch a void egg into a cool living ship,
then you're ready for like a regular kid.
Then you're ready for a regular ship.
Or does it go the other way around? That like you have to prove that you're not gonna that you can fly around in like a regular ship without like smashing it into stuff before you're allowed to have a void egg. Like if you crash land your like regular ship a certain number of times, they're like, no, you cannot have a void egg.
We'll give you a regular egg and come back in a week, and if it's still intact on your space adventures and you haven't scrambled it, then we will give you a void egg and you can prepare for parenthood of your ship.
And then you like come back and they're like, where's the egg? I made an omelet. Okay, you don't get a void egg.
Yeah, I'm not giving you a void egg. We only give these void eggs to happy, healthy homes.
Yeah. Remember, take good care of your living ship.
I'm so surprised.
Also watch Farscape if you haven't.
I'm so surprised they use the term void egg, because the only other game I know that has void eggs is Stardew Valley, and that's how you get void chickens.
Sorry, what's a void chicken?
It's a special chicken that makes a void eggs that you can make into void mayonnaise. It's very expensive. They're very hard to get.
What does void mayonnaise? What do you use void mayonnaise for?
To spread on your void sandwiches from the cheese that you're grabbing from your cheese shelf. Clearly.
Void. The void chicken. The clock of which begins the world.
Today. Can I make void deviled eggs in Stardew Valley? I should try to obtain some void chickens. I don't know if
our void eggs deviled to begin with.
Do I void my system by making void eggs on it? Does that void your warranty?
A void egg voids your warranty. That makes sense.
Yeah.
In fun EVE Online news, well, not fun, but positive. players in EVE Online have raised over $100,000 to fund aid to Australian brushfires, which is awesome. And notable because so how this actually works is they haven't, like, it's not like people have donated to the brushfire relief stuff directly. What it is CCP, the company that runs EVE. EVE has this thing called Plex, which are pilot licenses, which are that's like
I was very confused by that.
One Plex is 1 month of subscription to EVE, so it's an in-game item that you can use to subscribe to your EVE account for 1 month.
Okay.
And you can buy Plex with real money.
Okay.
Is the trick. But you can also buy Plex with in-game currency.
Right.
So the idea is that if you're making enough money in the game, you don't actually have to pay to subscribe because you can buy it with in-game currency.
Okay.
But normally, you cannot convert Plex back into real dollars, right? There's no way to convert your in-game economy back into real dollars.
Once they take your money, it's theirs.
But what they've done, what CCP does is they've created a NPC in the game that you can give Plex to.
Mm-hmm.
And then at the end of the month, or at the end of the particular amount of time, they take all the Plex that this NPC was given, and then they themselves turn that back into real dollars based on, the amount, $15 or $10 or however much Plex is worth in the real world. And then CCP donates that money to the charity.
Okay.
And they've actually done this a few times for different charitable organizations over the years, called Plex for Good. So it's a little bit convoluted. It's probably not the most efficient way of donating to these things, but on the other hand, it allows you to turn your gameplay in, and it does actually turn into money.
Yeah, I imagine if you're playing a lot and you have some extra Plex and you're like, I'll just put this here, then that's something I can't.
And there's lots of.
Imagine if you're actually buying Plex that you're just handing it over like that. You should probably just donate directly at that point.
Yeah, exactly. But there's like in-game corporations and stuff that have, hundreds of billions of ISK, which is the like in-game currency, that could easily donate money and then turn into things. So it's very cool. It's a neat way of giving to a very, very worthwhile cause. So yay.
Cool.
And people have done all sorts of different things. People are saying that EVE Online streamers have been eating very, very, very hot wings, or being gone to like big, like they've staged like a big, huge fight in space, and people put in sort of pledge Plex on the outcome of the fight, or to add more people to the fight, or different things like that. So they come up with all sorts of in-game random people have come up with all sorts of in-game things to help or to raise these Plex. So it kind of gives like a separate, a different kind of venue for.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting.
All right.
Still going to always be baffled by that game, but I'm glad there are people who enjoy it.
Yep.
Speaking of games,
speaking of baffling,
sometimes do enjoy and don't.
Yeah. Fallout 76, and I'm sorry, but it is another something's broken in Fallout 76 story. Look, occasionally the stories about Fallout 76 aren't about stuff being broken in it. Sometimes that happens. This is not one of those times.
I remember one a while ago.
Yeah.
It's definitely not this one.
So this is sort of two problems put together, and because there's a new kind of power armor in Fallout 76 called the Strangler Heart power armor that is very, very strong, and also very, very hard to get. It's part of like a Valentine's Day or Valentine's month promotion.
Specific trial thing that you got to do.
Yeah, so you have to do a whole bunch of stuff,
and stuff.
and it's unique. So you're only supposed to be able to get one, and so it's really powerful because you can only get one. Unfortunately, a ton of them have been showing up everywhere because people have been duping them, which I mean, obviously it's a problem because there is a whole like economy aspect, and now everyone has like really good armor.
Yeah, but the duping way they do it is really affecting a lot of other people, isn't it?
So the problem is that over the time that Fallout 76 has been out, there's been a lot of duping glitches that they've slowly tried to patch and stuff because duping is very bad. The problem is this particular duping glitch is basically somebody drops the item and then somebody else picks it up at the same time as if the server crashes.
Yep.
Which seems like it wouldn't be that big a problem because you have to know when the server's going to crash.
So
Unfortunately, there's another glitch that basically makes it so people can crash the servers whenever they want.
Yeah. So.
Which to me is actually more of a problem than duping.
Yeah, because that means that's the reason they're crashing the server, though, right?
Right.
So every time they crash it, if other people are on it, it's been crashed.
But like, if I was Bethesda, I'd be more concerned about the like crashing the server whenever they want to, as opposed to the
because if
people
they could
duping
stop
things.
you from doing it from wherever they want, then they wouldn't be able to do this glitch so easily.
Yeah. So basically, all you have to do is there's a building problem where you basically put a billion. You put a whole ton of walls inside each other, and they clip through each other
Yeah, that's
to
not
the
how
point.
walls are supposed to work.
And they put it to the point where it breaks.
Yeah. So the other issue with this too is that because now so many people have this armor, it actually makes it makes the server start to lag because not that many people are supposed to actually have it. Because it's the gear adds acid damage to players' attacks as well as any enemies that hits them. Effects that have always strained the game but are even worse when multiplied by more people. As a result,
Right, so it does also a whole bunch. Yeah.
So it actually makes the thing lag a little bit to the point where people are like, yeah, we're just gonna run our big events on private servers until this issue is fixed.
So the good news, actually, I didn't see this when I first noted it, because it didn't happen then. But today, I see that Bethesda has actually, apparently they've just released a hot fix to address multiple exploits. So they're saying there are no patch notes except for fixing multiple exploits.
Bug fixes.
So presumably that is one of the things that they fixed. It doesn't actually the like note doesn't actually specifically address that exploit.
We'll
but
no longer let you put walls inside of walls. We
Yes.
don't know why we allowed that in the first place.
walls only go outside other walls. So anyway, if you are enjoying Fallout 76, more power to you.
One of the problems people stated that they were afraid that what would happen is because it's a very powerful piece of armor, but now everyone has it, is that they'll nerf it.
Right. Either they'll nerf it.
They've done that before, apparently.
Either they'll nerf it, or they have to come up with an even more powerful set of armor.
To take out that set of armor.
Yeah.
Flawless.
Sony will not be at PAX East.
Yes, they've pulled out.
Yeah, citing coronavirus stuff. Which I mean, I guess it's fair to they want to keep themselves. I don't quite see why. Like, it seems like it's not like Boston is like a hotbed of virus activity.
But it sounds
it's just like any big group of people, I guess, they're trying to avoid.
They said that they were concerned and they wanted to keep their international team.
Wow, they just pulled from GDC as well.
Yeah, GDC is actually starting to lose a few people as well. Basically, any place, I think, any large event where people come from multiple places all over the world.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it is a
people-
sort of incubator for that
Yeah,
kind of
I
stuff.
mean, everyone gets sick at PAX, right? And that's not just because.
Yeah, I mean, it's true.
That's because it's a convention. It's a long weekend. I think PAX East is 4 days long, so it's a little bit longer than other conventions. People have a tendency to stay up way too late, not keep themselves hydrated, not eat properly. You're coming in contact with a lot of other people. It's very easy to get sick.
Like I'm a little concerned that you know, when and if the standard like PAX pox happens, everyone will be like, "Oh, it's the virus."
I mean, maybe.
When it'll probably like just be like the standard, like if a bunch of people get sick at PAX East, that's not surprising. That's not like a horrible new thing. It's just kind of what happens.
There are also there have been some airport restrictions, so it could be that's going on, and Sony's just like we're not gonna, like, if there's this stuff going on, we would rather not. And I'm a little curious to see because Sony's booth is always quite large, so I'm curious to see how PAX East themselves tries to fill that space, because they've said that they're gonna like have more sanitation stations and a bunch of other stuff.
I'm sure they'll be
Try
able to
and
shuffle
combat
things
that as
around.
well.
Yeah.
I've definitely seen people say just don't eat the food at the convention center because
Just not a terrible idea anyway.
I mean, it's out, it's open, there's a lot of people around. I mean, it's really hard to get food at the convention center. Anyway, you might as well leave and go off site, because wow.
Yeah, there's actually like when it was going around, I believe that I actually got like swine flu at PAX.
That was the thing.
I say I believe because I didn't. It was the thing where like I was really sick with a really bad flu, and I called my doctor, and he was like, "Yeah, that's probably swine flu. Don't come into the come into the clinic because we don't want you here with swine flu." Like the process is, it's just a particularly nasty flu.
Yeah. So someone was like, I don't understand the big. Why it's such a big deal. The reason it's such a big deal is because there's been 75,000 cases of it.
Yeah.
And there have been people who've died from it. And
from
it's particularly impacting a lot of manufacturing in China, which a lot of manufacturing comes out of China.
Yeah, my completely layperson idea of it, like it seems to be like the flu is something that is actually kind of dangerous. That is dangerous, especially if you are immunocompromised or
Older,
you have
or
various other things.
Maybe you have another sickness and it's dropping on top of that.
And so, and this is a particularly virulent, as in like it spreads very easily. So it's not that much more dangerous than a regular flu, but it is spreading between people faster and more more definitively, I guess, than a regular flu does. But
it's basically like, okay, when every year somebody gets the flu, right? Like just a normal flu, they get sick, they stay home, hopefully, and then other people don't get it. But you hear about schools having a kid who's gone to school and then everyone's gotten the flu, and it's just like it shuts down the school. Well, guess what? Everyone's getting this thing and it's shutting down areas, and it's kind of a big deal, mostly because of the manufacturing stuff, but also they don't want people to get sick. You don't want to send people to a thing where you're like, they might, and that seems like a huge possibility, and we'd rather not do that.
Yeah, and the precautions that are being done in terms of pulling out of stuff, and in terms of various governments and stuff being putting money towards the research and doing various health initiatives to deal with it, have from what I understand been quite successful, in the sense that it is they're making progress on it, but it is definitely a nasty one. So anyway, I obviously The thing that kind of annoys me is there's like a lot of I've seen a lot of people in comments for stuff about this being like, oh, I guess they're not ready to show off the PS5 yet, so they're like using an excuse to not go. And it's I feel like they don't need, they could just say we're not going to show it up. Also, it's not like they would be announcing stuff at PAX East anyway.
I've been deep diving on the conspiracy theories of people about why the Nintendo Direct hasn't happened, and the amount of people who are like, do you think they've delayed the Nintendo Direct that we have no information about, therefore how did it get delayed anyway? Because the coronavirus is happening. And I'm like, okay, I know there's been some manufacturing delays. I know there's been, I think there is one video game that has said that it's delayed because of that or whatever, but I'm like, I don't actually think that would have stopped that weird piece of marketing.
But
yeah.
Goodbye. Other stuff. There's just a couple more things here.
There's no Nintendo Directs because Animal Crossing is the last game you'll ever buy. That is not true. It's just I won't play any of the games I end up buying because I'll only have Animal Crossing. But I'll still buy them because I'm that kind of person.
There are rumors that Overwatch and Diablo, as in Blizzard franchises, are being optioned or being produced as for various various television platforms, as in Netflix or whatever.
Well, specifically the Diablo one is supposedly going to happen through Netflix.
Yeah. And apparently there's also an Overwatch show in development, but they don't know who. A lot of people are going.
So first of all, rendered in an anime style, so that's going to be a thing. But secondly, the fact of where this news came from
is to just somebody's LinkedIn profile.
A LinkedIn profile. That is not usually, like, I see all kinds of things where it's like, oh, this game's been rated, so we know it's coming now, and that kind of thing. But I don't think I've ever seen news has now been leaked of a television show through a LinkedIn profile. It's now the thing you have to check.
To be honest, I always feel a little bit sorry for the FMV the FMV creation team at Blizzard, because they do amazing work like twice a year when the new games come out, right? And it's always like, holy crap, this is so cool. But they're clearly, but it's like, so like I'm excited. Obviously it's not going to be like the internal Blizzard team that's making this, but I feel like there's a lot of lore and interesting stuff that they could talk about on, especially on Overwatch. Like Overwatch has a ton of like stuff that is outside of the game, right? Like the game itself almost has.
Yeah, no, they put all their lore outside the game.
Like within the game, Overwatch has practically no lore. It's all just delivered through, comics and, or little short videos and stuff.
I don't know, Wikipedia articles maybe.
So
Wiki articles.
Yeah, and I like Diablo. Definitely could be like a Castlevania-esque.
Oh, I'm sure
anime.
It'd be cool. I care more about the Overwatch one, mainly because I think the characters look cool, but I don't want to play the video game.
It's true. And it's also like Diablo, like the story of Diablo is like, people fighting big monsters. Like it's not that.
Yeah, like I'm sure
it's like literally like there's like 10 other anime that are like that.
I get weirded out when things say in anime style because, especially when the anime bubble really happened, where we were getting a lot of stuff and it was very popular. Like end of the 90s, early 2000s, and then everybody was like, oh, okay, all of our stuff has to look like anime, but it doesn't look right because they're not really going all the way, and I still kind of have this thing in my brain where it's just like, oh, anime style, huh? I hope it's
there's been legit animes.
Oh, sure. I'm not saying there hasn't been. I'm just saying a little shy around the idea when they say words like that.
It's true. It's true.
No, Teen Titans was amazing, and I will hear nothing bad about it.
Also, look, I'm not saying that you couldn't do a fun story or an interesting story with Diablo, and I know that there's tons of lore about within the Diablo universe. I'm just saying, like, the central concept of Diablo is a very, like, it's already like a super very anime. Like
sure.
it's an anime trope almost, which is fine.
I remember when the Archie comics tried to go anime style, and I did not appreciate it. I don't know if they're still trying to do that or not. I don't read them, but
new Cooking Mama is coming out, called Cooking Mama Cookstar, and it's called that because apparently, as well as the normal cooking stuff, the other part of you'll also be having to like take pictures of your food, and put like Instagram filters on them.
Seems really cool.
So you not only have to make like good tasting food, but you also have to make food that's ready for the social media generation. So like rainbow colored grilled cheese.
Yeah, which I'm less thrilled about. Okay, so seriously, first of all, this trailer went up and then got made private, so it feels like they weren't supposed to release this trailer yet. But secondly, we did a story about Cooking Mama, and probably this version of it, not that, like, some time ago, because it was weird how there was a thing that showed up for it on the business site that involved the blockchain.
Yeah, it was.
Does no one remember that?
And it was like, the French and like the name had been like bought out by like some weird like holding company that wasn't actually a game developer.
Yeah.
And then but the trailer for this looks really good. Like, it looks like a
yeah.
And it looks like what you would expect from a Cooking Mama game. Like, it looks very true to the thing, which seems odd. So maybe then
Is it the same company? Did they get rid of it? That company put that information up and then made their website basically disappear after, like, before we even ran that story on the show. And it was just like, no one could figure out what the blockchain was even doing in it. And they're not going to tell us now, clearly. But
so, yeah.
Also, this trailer was not supposed to go up?
I guess.
Probably. It seems a little weird that it got taken private, and I'm just like, what is going on with your marketing team?
It's a good trailer.
Yeah, but
like, it's a fine trailer, but it's just weird that it got taken down.
What's going on? I mean, the trailer also, I think, states that the game's coming out in March. But
which
again,
maybe is wrong, yeah.
Why would you not have that trailer go up then? Was that wrong and they were supposed to put up a different one and they were like, oh no. Like, what does that mean? I mean, it probably means nothing. We're getting a Cooking Mama game and that's really cool. And if it cost me $80, I'm probably not going to buy it, but it looked like
they said 40
for like the... Well, 40, if it's 40 US, that's closer to like 60 here.
That's true.
For us, which is also maybe a little high, so I might wait for that to go on sale.
And finally, update to Pokemon Go. Now, if you saw the rating or the Pokemon in new Pokemon Sword and Shield video that Heather and Ben and Graham did a while ago, you know that at least Ben, if I recall, has very strong opinions about the fossil Pokemon and how they're garbage. He did not like the fossil Pokemon.
Well, because in Sword and Shield, you get like two things and you combine them together and they look weird, and apparently that's to make reference to how when fossils were found they would kind of put them together and we would make weird things. This is a little bit different. These are older fossil Pokemon.
Oh, okay. See,
not those.
I saw that. So what's happening? So in Pokemon Go, 7-kilometer eggs, instead of hatching baby Pokemon, are now going to hatch only fossil Pokemon.
So 7-kilometer eggs are special because they're the only eggs you get when you're doing friend gifting. You give gifts to your friends through the game, and sometimes you'll get a 7-kilometer egg. and those are different from like the 10, 5, and 2 kilometer eggs that you get for Pokestops. You can only get them
What?
that way.
What?
From your friends.
Why have they decided that like 7 kilometers is the friend distance? All friends must be 7 kilometers away from each other at all times.
Because they already had kilometers for the other ones? I don't know. Fossil Pokemon refers to the fact that if you wanted to get a Pokemon in the games, that in order to get them you had to you'd find a fossil, and you would take it generally to like a science center or something, and they would take the DNA out of the fossil and give you the one Pokemon. So Kabuto and Omanyte were from the first games. I think Aerodactyl might have been as well. I can't quite remember, but that's what that's referring to. It's just that it's a Pokemon that comes from a fossil.
Oh, I see. So they aren't like a different kind of Pokemon. They're just like fossilized
where
Pokemon.
You find them from.
Okay.
They're basically like the dinosaurs.
Right.
There's a fossil, you'll get a Pokemon out of it, and then but like newer fossil Pokemon in Sword and Shield was the weird like
The
combining
2 parts, yeah.
thing. So that was newer, but that's not quite what they're going for here.
Okay, I was confused.
That's okay. Pokemon
anyway.
Go is confusing. There's a lot going on in it, and nothing all at the same time.
If you haven't watched that video, you should, because it's very amusing, and I learned a lot in terms as someone who doesn't play Pokemon. I learned a lot. Like I thought it was, you catch all the Pokemon and then you evolve them. I didn't realize how complicated it was. Like that every Pokemon or like all the different Pokemon have like different ways that you have to do to evolve them, and all this different. Like I thought I didn't realize the complexities that are involved in the Pokemon evolving process.
It's
fun.
Sure.
Yeah.
Fun.
Anyway, let's thank the last group of subs here. Chuck E. Cheese has subscribed. Thanks to the Maricat.
Willie Nelson for 30 months. I give it a week before they figure out how to rob the NPC.
Oh, this is the on Eve Online also subscribed. Thanks to the Maricat. And Mega Flycraft for 32 months. 32 months. That's like at least 2 minutes, although I'm not sure. You know what? It probably is.
There's at least 2 minutes within 32 months. Definitely.
All right, coming up, we got LRR MTG, which is just a little over half an hour. They're going to be playing the Theros Beyond Death drafts, I assume.
Yeah, I guess that's what they've been doing lately. I'm going to assume it's James and Adam.
That's probably a reasonable assumption.
Or one of those two.
And then, Tinker Tailor Solder Fry, a truly historic occasion.
Uh-huh.
This time for sure.
Uh-huh.
Ian is going to be finishing up his Dreamcast hacking, and at the end of this, he will have a Super Dreamcast. I don't even know what the actual objective is.
I think
at the end, I guess
that he doesn't have to put discs in it.
Right.
Or something to that degree. I'll believe that's the final one.
He's going to perform.
He actually finds out that it's the final one.
He's going to take. Doing the amazing magic trick of turning like 3 working Dreamcasts into 1 working Dreamcast.
This project's been going on since this show started. This has been going on since Moonbase Delta, when we've been here like nearly 2.5 years. So like 3-4 years maybe he's been going on trying to do this.
Has this been going on longer than the Dreamcast was actually in production?
Well, that I don't know. I never paid attention to the Dreamcast that heavily.
Anyway, I'm very excited.
I'll be excited later.
Yeah. I'm very excited that the Dreamcast is definitely going to be finished.
I mean, I hope it is. I really, really want it to be, because I know he's pulled it up several times, and sometimes the thing just doesn't work, or he has to start over on a thing and new parts have to come in. But I have a hard time believing.
And then on Friday 9 a.m., Adam's going into Persona 5. He's going hardcore on Persona 5 now. He really wants to get this thing finished.
He broke 100 hours during his last stream, I think.
Yeah.
So he's got to be
close.
Close. At least a few more streams. Close. he's gonna finish it eventually.
One would think, maybe not. I don't know.
We'll make it a race. Who finishes their game first, Adam or Ian and his Dreamcast? I know Ian's got a lot of lead time on his, but
man, wouldn't it have been an amazing prank if like Persona 5 didn't actually have an end and nobody told Adam? He's just like, it's just one of these games where you just like keep grinding the whole time.
I'm pretty sure he's like goofed and around and said that like nobody has warned him about the length of this game, but several of us, when he brought up that he wanted to play this game, was like, are you sure? This game's like at least 90 hours, if not more. And he was like, no, it'll be okay. And I'm like, okay. We're not kidding about that number.
And then on Friday, it is the Canadian Highlander Winter League Episode 2. That's right. Cameron and Nelson and all the North 100 folks are going to be playing the Highlanders. Mm-hmm. And then more Adam's Game House, followed by Loading Ready Live on Saturday, when things will happen.
Something will happen.
Probably.
That's what we keep saying.
Rhythm Cafe, Cadence of Hyrule, the DLC.
Yep. We should be... I think we can maybe finish it that week, but if not, it'll be the week after. We're getting pretty close to being done.
And then, Dice Friends, on Monday, it's going to be Alien Heat Death Episode 3, which is super sweet.
You can catch episodes 1 and 2 on the youtube.com/loadingreadyrun channel if you've missed them.
And as a quick note, that will, after that third episode of Alien Heat Death, there's going to be a 1 week hiatus. Because several of the players are going to be at PAX East, and then it will be back the week afterwards. So
so PAX East is Graham, Corey, Cameron, and Ben. I believe are the four who are going to be there that weekend. So if you happen to be going, go say hi. I believe there's going to be an amount of RoadQuest merch at the booth as well.
Yeah.
And then there's probably going to be maybe some sort of Dice Friends one-shot thing. Maybe Adam. I think Adam has a plan for that week. And
that is the plan, yes.
And then, so you won't be Dice Friendless. No. It just won't be Heat Death.
And speaking of PAX East, do keep an eye on the loadingreadyrun.com/live schedule, especially just during the latter part of next week, because some of the streams might move around a little bit or whatever, just because certain people won't be available. So thanks everybody for watching, and we will see all y'all later.
Bye.
Bye.